This on call Lewiston City Council regular meeting to order July 14th, 2025. At the time and place is advertised. Our next order of business is the Pledge of Allegiance. Our transit manager is going to lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance today. Welcome, Chris. If you'd please come up here.
The flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Chris. Our next order of business is citizen comments. This is an opportunity for citizens wishing to comment on agenda items or other items they wish to bring to the council's attention, excluding those scheduled for a public hearing. As there may not be another opportunity to comment once an agenda item is addressed, individuals are encouraged to speak at this time. Individuals are encouraged to discuss operational issues in advance with the mayor. In consideration of others wishing to speak, commentary is limited to 3 minutes. City Council promotes and practices civility within the governing body, respecting others and their viewpoints. So if we have any citizen comments tonight, please come up to the microphone, introduce yourself for the record, just your city and name. We do not need addresses. Okay, if you'd please stand up over here. The little one, I'm teasing. No citizen comments tonight. We have a special presentation, Roman numeral 4, Council. Item A, Police Department promotional pinning ceremony recognizing Will Thompson on his promotion to the rank of corporal within the police department. We have our police chief, Jason Cusick, with us here tonight. And Chief, would you like to do it from there? Or would you like to come up front towards the flag? How would you like to do it?
I thought we'd do it here.
Okay, and
I
then
worked with our ISS department, and they thought this would be a better setup.
okay,
So
and
that
then
works.
we can pin Corporal Thompson up front then?
Sure.
Perfect, thank you.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor, Council. Today I want to recognize Will Thompson on a very well-deserved promotion to the rank of corporal. Now, this rank is not just a new title. It is an indication of Corporal Thompson's pledge to leadership at LPD and the community. As a corporal, Will is granted not only greater responsibilities administratively and operationally, but also to serve as a mentor for officers and aid in their development. I trust in his ability to make sound decisions, to be mission-focused, and to serve our community with honor. On a little background for Will, he served 5 years in the United States Marine Corps as machine gunner, and he deployed to Afghanistan as part of his Operation Enduring Freedom. He is a graduate of the University of Mississippi with a Bachelor's of Science degree in Criminal Justice. He joined the Louisville Police Department in Louisville, Texas in 2016, and he worked there until 2021. While he was there, he served on the SWAT team, and he was also a field training officer. He joined the Lewiston Police Department in September of 2021, and during his time with us, he has served as a field training officer. He's also been the head ARCON instructor, which is our defensive tactics system. He's also been a firearms instructor and a SWAT team member. And also, I'd like to add that his most important role is that of the father to his daughter, Evangeline Marie Thompson. So with that, I'd like to congratulate Will, and we'll walk up and Rocky will read his oath, and then we'll do his badge pinning with his daughter. So I appreciate it. Thank you, and congratulations.
Corporal Thompson, before you step out, may I ask you to introduce who you have with you here tonight?
Oh, so. She took it off. It has to say no, she put it on. So this is Paige Vanover. She's my girlfriend. She's actually one of our K-9 officers. She just picked up K-9 actually. K-9 Quincy, I think y'all met him just a couple weeks ago. And this is her family here, Father Kane, Mother Brandy, and her sister Chelsea.
Thank you and welcome. Thank you for being here. This is a big night. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Ready?
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Thank you, Corporal. Paige. Okay, councilors, next we move to Roman numeral 5, public hearings and related action items. Item A, public hearing amended CDBG 2024 annual action plan, accepting testimony on the amended community development block grant, CDBG 2024 annual action plan. This is an action item, and we have our grant manager with us here, Melinda Rose. I will ask our grant manager to give a presentation on this amended plan. After that, we will accept public testimony if we have any, and there's a 3-minute limit on that. And council, at that time, you'll have an opportunity to provide questions or ask questions or any other testimony you'd like to hear. Once it's closed, you won't have that opportunity, so that will be your time to do that. So with that, I'm going to open this public hearing and turn it over to our grant manager, Melinda Rose. Welcome, Melinda.
And Council, Melinda Rose, the city grant manager, and I'm just here for the public hearing of the 2024 amended action plan, and I presented on that at the meeting in June and displayed the different changes that were made to the plan. We went through a 30-day comment period, and so we're here tonight just to allow the public to make further comment, voice any comments that were received during that period. I've not received any. I don't know of any that were received. But then we would just move on for acceptance of the plan.
Thank you, Melinda. Council, any questions? Councilor Forsman?
When reading through this, I know it said you guys have some different avenues of getting the information out there. Can you remind me a couple of those again? Or if people aware of the program and how they participate if they wanted or tried to?
Certainly. With the CDBG program, we utilize all of our avenues for public outreach, which is the internet. We've done some radio spots.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Counselor. If there's no further comment, I'll ask if there are any testimony from the public. I don't see any, and so with that, I will close the public hearing. Counselors, next up, we have item B, amended CDBG 2024 action plan, considering approving the amended CDBG 2024 action plan. This is an action item. Counselors, if you have a motion, I would do that, or we could hear more from our grant manager.
Mayor?
Counselor Schroeder?
Oh, sorry.
Did you, who was it?
Counselor Schroeder?
Either one, doesn't
Okay.
matter.
I move to approve the amended CDBG 2024 action plan.
Second.
It's Been moved by Counselor Schroeder, seconded by Counselor Forsman to approve the amended CDBG 2024 action plan. Those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you, council. Thank you, Linda. Next, we have item C, public hearing, draft CDBG 2025 annual action plan, accepting testimony on the draft CDBG 2025 annual action plan. This is an action item, and again, we have our grant manager, Melinda Rose, with us here tonight. The public hearing process is, I will open it. We'll have a staff presentation, testimony from the public. If there is any, council, that will be your time then to ask questions or ask additional questions on the testimony received. Once the hearing is closed, you will have no other opportunity to ask questions. And so with that, Linda, I will open the public hearing and turn it over to you. Thank you.
You, again, Melinda Rose, Grants Manager for the city. And the 2025 action plan is our plan for moving forward with the new funding that we're receiving from HUD for this program year, which runs from the 1st of August till the end of July. And we've been through the process. I also presented on this in June, but we've been through the process of accepting applications, reviewing them, and evaluating and scoring them, and coming to a determination of what those funds can be utilized for.
Thank you, Melinda. Council questions for
Mayor?
Councilor Forsman?
So on and this is, excuse my ignorance here, but staff have been trained to raise the issue of CDBG funding with the project is in LMI. What is an LMI?
LMI stands for low to moderate income.
Oh, okay. Thank you. And then just one last question. So program administration and planning, I see here allocated 30,000. That's just for your team to be able to advertise and allocate administrativeness activities type stuff for that? Is that?
That's correct. The administration program. Those costs are training, and we provide training to, like, we let the Idaho IFHA, Idaho Housing, come and do some training. Those costs are included. We also require lead inspection, lead paint inspections for any home project, and so those are all covered with the administrative costs.
And then this was last year's too. Did you guys do 30 last year as well? Is it like a recurring thing you try to do the same amount every year?
HUD allows us, I think, up to 15% to use for administration.
Okay.
But the 30,000 is in line with what we've utilized in the past.
Okay, perfect. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilor. Council, other questions, comments? Councilor Spicklemeyer?
Thank you. Last year, we had a grant that went to Skyview Mobile Home Park, correct? And this year, I see it's to Mountain View. Is it the same owner?
It is the same, yes. Skyview is the owner and Mountain View is the actual RV park. Skyview Estates is run by Kyle Fickenworth.
So I noticed some of the work they did, it looked like they met the city's requirement to put a curb and gutter in front of it. Was that part of what was spent, the money was spent?
Yes, 2024 funding is spent for part of the paving that's happening. And then 2025 is proposed to exchange out the electrical poles.
Okay, Council, I'll just pause here for a minute, see if there are any other questions.
Mayor?
Councilor Forsman?
It's not, doesn't even really matter that much, but just out of curiosity, is there a reason that he did use one name and then chose the other? Is it because the project was kind of different?
No, quite honestly, it's probably my doing.
Okay.
Not being consistent with those names.
Oh, okay. Not a big deal. I was just curious if maybe that was the reasoning. So, yeah, that makes sense. Part of the last year's project too was, I mean, it wasn't only the pavement and the sidewalk, but they needed to remove the old buildings, right? The old units as well and place in the new ones.
So that was a part of his proposal, but that was not part of what we utilized CDBG funding for. His proposal, I don't recall right now, but it was huge. And so we tried to break it down as to what could be covered. Last program year, the 100,000 for the paving. And since the environmental review was so expensive and it was actually an environmental assessment that cost us thousands of dollars. We felt like, the committee felt like giving more towards his proposal was wise use of the funding.
You.
Council, is anyone in the public that would like to testify? Council, any last questions? Hearing none, I'll close the public hearing. Council, next we move to item D, draft 2025 CDBG action plan. Considering approving the draft 2025 CDBG action plan. Again, this is an action item. Grant Manager Melinda Rose, of course, is here. Otherwise, I would entertain a motion.
Mayor,
Councilor Forsman,
motion to approve the 2025 CDBG. Second. Action plan, excuse me, sorry.
been moved by Councilor Forsman, excuse me, seconded by Councilor Schroeder to approve the 2025 CDBG action plan. Those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you, Council. Next, we move to Roman numeral 6, consent agenda. All items on the consent agenda are considered routine by the council and will be enacted by one motion. There will be no separate discussion on these issues unless the councilor so requests, in which case the item will be removed from the consent agenda and considered on the active agenda under items moved from the consent agenda. Council.
Mayor.
Councilor Forsman,
Motion to approve the consent agenda. Second.
been moved by Councilor Forsman, second by Councilor Schroeder to approve the consent agenda. Clerk Brocky?
Council President Kleberg.
Aye.
Councilor Wright.
Aye.
Councilor Forsman.
Aye.
Councilor Schroeder.
Aye.
Councilor Klein.
Aye.
Councilor Spiegelmeier.
Aye.
Thank you, Council. Thank you, Clerk Brocky. Next, we move to Roman numeral 7, active agenda. Item A, Resolution 2025-32, considering approving an interagency agreement between the City of Lewiston and Nez Perce County for ambulance and vehicle extrication services within unincorporated Nez Perce County and authorizing the mayor to sign the agreement. This is an action item, and we have with us here tonight our Fire Chief, Greg Reitmeyer, to present this item for your chief. Welcome. Please introduce yourself for the record.
Good evening, Mayor, Council. Greg Reitmeyer, Fire Chief. Thank you for the opportunity to bring this before you this evening. Give a brief oral review of the history that you were provided with. We have had a contract with Nez Perce County to provide ambulance services for them for right around the past 20 years. The historical documents get a little fuzzy exactly when it started. In addition to that, as we looked at it expiring this year, the calculations of how they arrived at the funds or the numbers that they've used in the past, there's just no clear path. There's no good documents that show how they came to that. The mayor and I searched through a lot of old records and old meeting minutes, and you see the numbers, but no real reference to why they came up with the numbers they did. And so what we've had over the past decade to 2 decades is just increased it each year based on the labor costs going up and the operational costs going up. And so the mayor asked me to take a deep dive into this and look at it. And when I did, what I noticed is that there was a cost for us to do our transports. And I'm basing that upon the federal documents we have to submit to the state of Washington every year for Medicaid reimbursement. And that takes into account an entire overlook of our operation. They look at our wages, our benefits, our costs of our vehicles, our medical supplies, that whole picture, they include that into one thing and they run it through. It's kind of like submitting your taxes, and they go through all these evaluations of it, and they come up with a number, and they send that to you as a preliminary, and then later in the year, they send you a final one. And it runs about 2 years behind when you get the final one closed out. But while not perfect, it gave us an objective criteria. We could point to this and say, this is how much it says it's costing us to transport a patient to the hospital. The basis for that for GMT is then they say, well, but we paid you $200 and it costs you $1,000, so you can get that money back through the GMT program. That's, mind you, only for Medicaid patients. So we have that gap in between what it costs us to do in business and what we actually are able to bill for. In the case of our county contract, when we looked at that gap, it was significant and made even more so by the fact that when we collected the transport fees, part of the contract is we would give that back to the county to offset what they were paying. So then when the mayor and I looked at that, we said, really this gap here, when it's in the city of Lewiston, the taxpayers of the city of Lewiston are paying that gap for their fellow city residents. When it's going out to a county, then the city's also paying the gap out of the county. And so we looked at that, we said, that's not fair. And the mayor's given me good direction on that to say, wait a minute, that's not right. It's not fair. So we sat down with the county commissioners ahead of our 6-month window to terminate the contract at the end of that current contract. And we said, yeah, this isn't going to work for us. And we laid out our explanation, and the commissioners were very amenable. They saw it and they said, we get it. We see that. And so we worked on putting together a new formula that wasn't based on things in the past. So we weren't paying in arrears. We came up with a calculation to establish the rate for the year, because that we have to base on what we currently know. And then we're going to bill them quarterly upon their actual runs, not, so typically your runs grow every year. And so we were always 1 year behind as we would bill them in our system. Additionally, the new contract does not reimburse or give back the transport revenue to the county, but rather we keep that. We spend the effort to do the collections through our ambulance billing, and we thought it was right that we should keep that money. And so we utilize that formula, and I struggle with how much math to put in front of you of how that formula comes to be, but I can tell you it's an objective standard that's verified and it's audited by a third-party auditor every year to come up with that. So we felt good that was a place that we could stand on and say we're not trying to play any games or fast and loose with the data here. And then we also looked at our extrication fees. That again was just based on a number that couldn't reconstruct. So we took that, we looked at the out of service time that we were out of service when we went on an extrication call. And that's when we send the jaws of life out to a car wreck. We looked at that out of service time, and then we multiplied that times what the MSAB has set for our rate for a standby for a crew. And then we added in there the depreciation of the rescue tool that we take out there. It cost $40,000. We did a 10-year straight line depreciation and said, okay. And then we just divided that to how many times that rescue unit goes on calls and what percentage of that go on calls to the county. So those are the three components that we really did. Is we said we're not gonna bill in the rears. We're gonna set that data on the objective. We're going to collect the ambulance transport fees for ourselves, and we're gonna change up this auto extrication. The last little piece in there was the jail. There was a flat fee negotiated for jail transports, and we just looked at that. So there's just really no reason for that to have a special cutout. It's a call out in the county like any of the other calls. So we just rolled that in. Mayor and I met with the commissioners 3 or 4 times and worked through the process with them. And what you have before you tonight is a contract that our legal has drawn up and made sure it meets all of the requirements and everything. Been presented to the county commissioners, and they've signed off on that. So now it's before council tonight for your approval to direct the mayor to sign it.
Thank you, Chief. Councilor Spickmeyer?
Thank you, Mayor. So cheap, to me, when I look through this, it seems to me like it's extremely cheap. I mean, 700 and what is it, 35 or something like that, dollars per call, where that's the city residents or taxpayers have to pay for the whole year, the $11 million that it costs us for the fire department. For them to go out there and do that and pull away from us for $735 or 36, that seems pretty minimal. And the residents, the county residents don't even pay that, do they? It's the county itself, Nez Perce County, correct?
Correct, it's paid for by their tax dollars.
And so the city taxpayers pay county taxes as well. So we get to pay for that as well?
That is the way the system's set up. Yes.
And so the city of Lewiston pays the majority of Nez Perce County's taxes.
Yes.
Am I wrong?
I'm not the tax assessor, I'm sorry, I don't know that, but it seems, yes, that is
But to
the,
me, that seems very, very low. You know, especially you have, might have a call out on 22nd or 3rd, whatever our line is, or you have to go all the way to cul-de-sac for the same $736.
correct. And then if there's a transport, we would bill the patient for that transport.
You bill the patient and not the county. The county is a flat rate.
County's a flat rate. Keeping in mind, what that replaces is when we respond out to a city, you know, that's what we're trying to approximate, is if we go down, you know, we go to Catalyst to the urgent care center and transport somebody, we don't charge anybody that. It's just part of the tax base that's in the fire department's tax or budget in the general fund. So this is a way to try to replicate that tax base that's just baked into our operational costs back into the city.
But I guess, can I, no,
Counselor?
when I look at this formula where you go out there, it divides $1,484 by something, and then that's divided by 660. I guess I don't get it. It seems awful cheap for a one-time thing, and the readiness all the time for our fire department to go take care of them.
Yeah, I can tell you it was less. I can tell you that we saw that and we based this formula on some objective criteria. It is part of our system design. Certainly have a discussion someday about system design and how we do that. But the revenue that comes in from the contracts that the city of Lewiston has with our counties, you know, it offsets a good portion of what we do. So that it's a benefit to us at this point in time. At some point in the future, if we see the call numbers climbing and the response times getting out of hand, then it's a discussion to have of you either have to add units or decrease your service area.
Follow up?
Counselor Spickler?
Can you explain the benefit to us?
So the benefit in this case, we're looking at bringing in about $500,000 annually. So if that goes away, the city would have to find another $500,000 of revenue of general funds to put into the fire department budget to maintain our staffing at the current level. So that's where those contracts is, you know, we bring in about $3.5 million in revenue in the EMS side of things to maintain the 16 firefighters that we have on duty. And part of that revenue mix comes from the contracts that we have.
And it doesn't pull away from our coverage. Say the Station 4 has to go to cul-de-sac.
Well, it's certainly, every time we send a unit, then that pulls from some other coverage area. So there certainly is that. I think it was 665 calls in fiscal 24 is how many times we responded out to the county. And that, again, that's, I don't have the exact where that bands into, but it follows where the population is.
Okay, thanks, Chief.
Welcome.
Counselor Klein?
So on that same, talking about those calculations, is there a way that we can charge based on whether either transport or response? Since the cost for transport is significantly higher than an ambulance response?
That's a good question. We looked at that and kind of went back and forth on what the right model is. The GMT is based, it gives us a dollar amount per transport. There's a cost to going on every single call, whether it's just outside our city limits in the area of impact, or it's a further call. And what we didn't, there's about a 52% transport rate this past year for the county. And so for 48% of the calls, we didn't want to collect nothing. The other part to that is if you're collecting the revenue based on a transport, then that changes your GMT calculations. Now that's transport revenue rather than response revenue, the model that we've come up with. And so if that makes sense, it changes the underlying finances for the city about where revenue is coming from. If it's coming purely from transport, then that would decrease the amount of GMT revenue we would see back. I know, I wish there was an easy whiteboard way to explain this. The mayor and I have spent quite a bit of time with spreadsheets looking at the data. And
Counselor Schroeder.
Bottom line, are we covering our costs?
as well as we can, given the number that we have, that GMT number, I'm not going to try to fool anybody that that's a perfect number, but it is a objective, audited, transparent number that we can say. Any number else that we would come up with, we would have two options. We guess, or we would have to spend a significant amount of consultant money to do a cost center analysis and come up with the number that it actually cost us to run those calls. And I think that, in discussing with the mayor, we felt that this got us a lot closer to being fair and objective than we were before. And it'd be a significant revenue increase.
Well, we appreciate what you do. Thank you.
Counselor Spicklemeyer.
So in talking about what it costs to respond to it, that looks like the $736 is basically what it costs. But we aren't getting anything for the standby for the fire department being ready at all, correct?
That would be
Which the
part,
city does. We have to pay for you to be ready at all times.
yeah, and that's part of their calculation. They look at the square footage of the stations, they look at your utility bills, your training hours, all of that goes into that calculation. And again, it's the closest we can get with something that's readily available.
Counselor Spicklemeyer.
It seems awful low to me when I look at that, when the whole tally of all that formula comes out to $489,000. That's the 484 times 330, and then it's divided, however that formula came out there. It seems, I don't get that $489,000. Is that what it's saying it's costing us to maintain our EMTs, or EMS system?
For 600 calls, that's what that's based on.
But the whole year?
Correct, but the 600 calls is out of 8,000 calls is not, just a portion of the business that we do.
So that's how it's drive down from all the calls throughout the year and then down to the 660?
Correct.
I
They
guess
look
I
at
don't
your
get-
they look at all of your responses for your whole system. We have to give them the records out of our computer-aided dispatch system. We have to send those to them, and then they break that all down and look at how many calls were in that area specifically, and then how many of those were actually transports.
Good, thank you.
Mayor?
Counselor Forsman.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but the city residents get a cheaper price anyway to have ambulance services, correct?
No, that's incorrect. We did get we went away from the model of a resident, non-resident several years back, but you're correcting your recollection. We had that discussion at MSAB, is should we have a resident, non-resident rate?
Yeah, and to me, it seems like if we are talking in fairness, especially with the citizens paying double because they pay city and county, it would make sense that we would do a resident versus non-resident price difference so that they can at least see a difference in price, being that they are in city limits. Might be a way to counteract that. My concern is if you get too high on this, is that all you're going to see is now the county's going to raise their budget and they're going to raise taxes, and then it's going to just filter back to us anyway. Now we're just paying more again. So I don't know if we're saving much money by taxing the county or requiring the county to pay any more. Where they're going to get the money, they're going to get it from us taxpayers. So it's just going to go up again. So I think that's a losing battle on that end. But I definitely think we could talk about giving our citizens a discount for ambulance services if they live within city limits from the Explorer.
Yeah, I think at our next MSAB meeting, please bring that up. We can look at, there's no limit on when we can do the rate adjustment through resolution.
Okay. Yeah, I'd like to do that. Thank you.
Chief, could you, this is a good discussion, and Counselor Spicklemeyer, you're hitting the nail on the head, and this is why we spent months talking to the county, because quite honestly, if the county's listening, it's a very good deal for them. It has been for a long time, because, for $500,000, they could hire half a dozen workers, but no ambulance included. So, it's an expensive business. So they know that, they recognize that. They supported our request. We're billing for every run, whether we transport or not. So when you look at that low number, if we didn't bill for non-transports, then we would charge the full amount, the $1,500. And we don't get paid for the non-transport. So this was just to say, okay, we're going to charge for every run, whether we transport or not. And it's kind of the best we can do at this point. Chief and I leaned on them pretty hard. They know it's a good deal. But Chief, maybe you could expand just briefly by way of example at the jail. You mentioned that we were going out there, but you didn't talk about the numbers and what we were getting reimbursed for under the old contract and what we're proposing under the new contract, and why maybe the county is going to look for another option.
Certainly. So before the previous model and prior to this contract, we didn't get anything from the jail. Chief Michael Bus had gotten a $5,000 concession as a flat fee from the jail. When I looked at the numbers, we had transported 52 times in 2024 we had 52 calls at the jail. And so we were getting $94 a call. And I thought that was just, clearly not enough. Even if you want to make an argument that there's a percentage of the jail inmates that are the city, it was just way out of bounds. So when we did this, we just flat out took it out. We just said, we're going to charge you the $736 per trip to the jail. I think that what a lot of that is great for the city is that it made them immediately go, well, we're going to have to figure out something else. And I think that that's where another value to charging by response is that it encourages people that are on the paying end to look into the alternatives, to look at the QRUs, to look at, we're frankly providing all of that service. And the heart of a responder in 40 years this September of caring for human beings when they need us also has a business side to it. And that business side is you got to get your own volunteers and you got to get your own programs going and not just wait for us to come out from the big city.
And Chief, if you would, tip the council off on what the next steps are. If this passes, what do we plan to do next?
Well, I think this builds a very good model for the future. So we our county, a Asotin County contract currently will expire in this September, and I've already been working with their commissioners. They know that there's an increase coming, but frankly, they know that it needed to increase again, and they like the fact that there's some objective numbers that are there. And so our 3 county contracts, that's exactly what we're looking to do. Our Asotin County Fire District contract, we will use some of the same theory and thought process of it. It is more of a partnership in that they pay us a flat fee already, and we do the billing and we get the GMT. The other thing is they house us. So they provide us quarters for a medic unit that frankly we don't have a place to put. If we were to pull that medic unit out of there, it has to go back to Station 1 where it originally was, and that will significantly impact the response time to the Elks area and that subdivision in there. So it's a good partnership. It works well. It provides us the revenue. That revenue provides and almost totally covers that unit's cost. But that unit also is part of our minimum firefighter staffing.
And council, if I could say, it's not a perfect system, but I can tell you it's an improvement. Continue to improve on it, but it's been a good process so far, and we have more work to do, so. Councilor Klein?
On the topic of the jail, there's something in there that, that said they didn't have to reimburse us for the transport if the inmate didn't have insurance or something along those lines. Why is that?
I think I don't know, because I don't run a jail, it's not my business, but I think there's some interesting complexities when you've incarcerated somebody and then you kind of take some custodial responsibility to provide for their care. And so my understanding is they weren't allowed to bill the inmate if they were to have insurance or Medicaid. They weren't allowed to bill that inmate for that, to incur debt upon them while they're incarcerated, because the inmate doesn't have the ability to consent to the treatment. They're just being told you're going to the hospital. And so I think that's why they wanted that negotiated out. So what this does is it just changes the fee structure to be exactly the same as everybody else. They're not getting a discount just because they're incarcerated.
Council, further questions? Councilor Schroeder?
May I make a motion?
Motion's in order.
I move to approve Resolution 2025-32.
Second.
Been moved by Councilor Schroeder, seconded by Councilor Wright to approve Resolution 2025-32. Clerk Brocky?
Council President Kleberg,
Aye.
Councilor Wright,
Aye.
Councilor Forsman,
Aye.
Councilor Schroeder,
Aye.
Councilor Klein,
Nay.
Councilor Spiegelmeier.
Nay.
Carries 4-2.
Thank you.
Thank you, Chief Reitmeyer.
Thank you.
Thank you, council, for the good discussion. Next up, we have item B, Resolution 2025-14, considering accepting a public water utility and access easement from Twin Foods Incorporated and authorizing the mayor to sign the easement. This is an action item, and we have our Public Works Director here with us tonight, Dustin Johnson. Welcome, Director. Please introduce yourself for the record. The floor is yours.
Evening, Mayor, City Council, Dustin Johnson, Public Works Director. In front of you is just some housekeeping. One thing to be clear, this is not part of any redevelopment for Twin City Foods. This is more of some housekeeping as far as there's always been public water mains and wastewater mains and everything else. This is, as we were updating the downtown water system, we're cleaning up some of this stuff. So this is the first portion, which is dedicating a new water line into the system, and then I think it says in your packet that when we abandon the old ones, you'll get another one when the new ones are constructed. They won't be in the site; they'll just be accessing into the site. So, if and when it is ever redeveloped, they'll utilize the newly constructed public water mains. So, if you have questions, I can hear.
Thank you, Director. Council, Councilor Spiegelmeier.
Thank you. And I guess I missed the last part, Director, on that. My curiosity was if you have that easement where it crosses the property, so they can't build over that?
Correct. Yeah, yeah, that's anywhere in the city. If you have a
That's a pretty
public
big easement.
easement going through somewhere. And so, yeah, there's actually, if you in the packet, it noticed there are some public water mains in there. Some of them are active, some of them are abandoned, that neither side, they can't find them and we can't find them, that there's easements for them. So that's part of the housekeeping, is trying to clean up. Obviously, they're not being fully utilized right now. I don't think they'll put another peak cannery there if it is redeveloped. So the developers will lay out the system how they want to develop it. They'll tie into the public water system where we end at the property line, and then they can dedicate, if it's a public, if they, have dedicated streets with water sewer, they'll dedicate the easements at that time and build the water mains just like any other developer.
Thanks.
Mayor,
Councilor Forsman.
if I'm understanding this, the benefit is we're kind of taking complexity away if someone wanted to build on the lot, right? In a way.
Yeah, that's part of it. Part of it is the same thing with downtown, these water mains that enter into this line. Well, plus, You have well 1A, which is right on the edge of their property, which serves basically all of downtown. So increasing the water capacity from into well 1A, which crosses their property, crosses the railroad tracks. So increasing the water capacity for downtown, while at the same time cleaning up old, unutilized easements that are within the private property.
We're abandoning the water main.
We're abandoning the old one, then when we build a new one, we'll come back with the revised easement.
I
But this
see.
is, that's what this is. Then when
Right.
the new easement is in, we'll come back and abandon the old one. Sorry, it was backwards.
Right, okay,
So
that
this
makes,
is the new one.
right, and that's, okay. I just wanted to make sure I understood the benefits, so, thank you.
Council, I want to make, Councilor Spickmeyer and Klein, can you hear the questions from down here?
Not very well.
Not as well, okay, so,
Sorry,
Counselor-
I'll try
or,
to-
you know, maybe pull your
Yeah.
hand away or something, but so enunciate. I thought there's only one troublemaker in this group, now there's two of us. But those listening at home and the council up here too needs to hear the questions because that's important. Council, further questions for Director Johnson? Not, I would entertain a motion.
Mayor,
Councilor Forsman,
motion to approve resolution 2025-14.
Second.
it's been moved by Councilor Forsman, seconded by Councilor Schroeder to approve resolution 2025-14. Clerk Rocky?
Council President Kleber,
Aye.
Councilor Wright,
Aye.
Councilor Forsman.
Aye.
Councilor Schroeder,
Aye.
Councilor Klein.
Aye.
Councilor Spiegelmeier.
Aye.
Motion carries. Thank you, council. Thank you, director. Thank you, Clerk Rocky. Next, we move to item C, resolution 2025-27, considering approving a revised City of Lewiston utility customer service policies and procedures update as of June 2025. This is an action item. Once again, our Public Works Director, Dustin Johnson. Welcome, Director.
Evening, Mayor, City Council, Dustin Johnson, Public Works Director. In front of you tonight is an update to our, what are we calling this? The utility customer service policy procedures. The history on this goes back to 2021. That was when we were pursuing state revolving funds from the State Department of Environmental Quality. One of the requirements, and that was for the construction of our water plant, our wastewater plant. One of the requirements was that we create this formalized document. And the way I kind of describe it myself is it's kind of the utility customer's bill of rights. It's obviously we have it on our website, we have flyers, we have information, but this formalizes the process and procedures for everything for where you can pay your bill, how you can pay your bill, how you open new accounts, utility billing payment options, descriptions of utilities, then of course, shut-offs and delinquent accounts and how that's all handled, contact information. And so each year in about July, we do an update to this. This is pushed through our utility billing, but since it was originally a public works function, I get to introduce it to you. So in the packet, it outlines kind of the updates that we've had. We've had a couple new updates on how you can pay your bill online. And a couple other things in there as far as email, electronic communication. So this is just an update to an existing policy.
Thank you, Director. Councilor Speckelmeyer?
Mayor, so Director, when I was looking at the agenda, it mentions the third-party vendors. The way I read it, it is they would be included, but when I look at the resolution down here, it says that they will not. So
Which version are you? I'm not calling the finance folks on this one. Talking about the
agenda says the customer provided emails, phone number will be
oh, yes.
including third party.
So the electronic communications, my understand, the reason we added that is for, the way it was written previously was, it was very specific to your utility account. We could utilize, if there's like a boil order or an emergency, we would like to have that contact information to where we can contact them. We are not soliciting their contact information. So no, we will not be giving that information to, you know, like vendors or anything like that.
Well, that's why I was curious, because in the actual documented procedures, it says it will not.
Yeah, we will not, I know why we added it. I'm drawing a blank as to why we would have a third-party vendor.
Director Gordon, welcome.
Amy Gordon, City Treasurer. The purpose of having a third-party vendor in there is we might use a platform of a third-party vendor to do that outreach, but we would retain that information. They wouldn't receive or become owners of that information. But we might use their software and their platform to send out that communication.
Thank you.
Council, further questions? Hey, I'd like to just give a quick shout out to both our Public Works Department and Utility Billing. This is important to have these type of policy in place and procedure, and provides predictability, but I think it improves customer service and gets us better results. So I just want to compliment them on that.
Mayor? I
Councilor
did, I had one
Spitler?
more question about the director.
Please.
In here, it mentioned about the electronic pay and all that. In the past, hasn't it been an additional charge for city residents to use electronic pay?
On another pen.
And I may be confusing it with Lloyd too, I'm sorry.
Well, I maybe don't understand your question. There's always a cost to process a payment. It's just what that cost is and what's entailed in that cost. We do provide several options for customers to pay their bills electronically. One of those is we can take an automatic payment out of their bank account every month. We pay some fees to the bank to do that, but we also pay fees to the bank when we take your check to the bank to deposit it as well. So it's just a different structure agreement we have with the bank depending on how we process your payment. We also allow payments by credit cards. There's some fees associated to doing payments by credit cards. So we have various ways to pay electronically. The costs are different, but they all have some type of cost associated to them.
Is it, I guess my question is, the fee transferred to the customer?
No, it is not.
Thanks.
Council, questions, further questions for Director Johnson? Councilor Schroeder?
I move to approve Resolution 2025-27.
Second.
Been moved by Councilor Schroeder, seconded by Councilor Forsman to approve Resolution 2025-27. Clerk Brockey.
Council President Kleberg.
Aye.
Councilor Wright.
Aye.
Councilor Forsman.
Aye.
Councilor Schroeder.
Aye.
Councilor Klein.
Aye.
Councilor Spiegelmeier.
Aye.
Carries. Thank you, Council. Director Johnson, Director Gordon. Next up, we have item D, RFQ-25-012 Award, East Lewiston Network Analysis, paren TR 073, and paren considering awarding RFQ-25-012 East Lewiston Network Analysis, paren TR 073, and paren project to Kittleston and Associates Incorporated in the amount of $150,000 and authorizing the mayor to sign the contract. Again, this is an action item. Our Public Works Director Johnson is here. Welcome.
Good evening, Mayor, City Council, Dustin Johnson, Public Works Director. So I'm going to take a quick 20-second time out here to disclose I have a conflict of interest on this contract. So when the city put this out for RFQ or request for proposals, there was two firms that put in on it. One of the firms, my wife was a subconsultant on it. And so as soon as I saw that I had that conflict, I did not participate in the selection. This agenda item came out in front of me. I had forgotten that she was on that team because she was a subconsultant. And so I am pulling myself away from this and handing this over to Luke Antonich, the city engineer, who's been leading this project from the beginning. So I will be out and hand it over to the city engineer.
Well, welcome, Luke. Please introduce yourself for the record. The floor is yours.
Mayor and City Council, Luke Antonich, City Engineer. I am here before you to discuss the professional services agreement with Kittleson and Associates. This is for the East Lewiston network analysis. I don't have a whole lot to add to what you've already seen in your packet. Just a refresher though, the impetus for this project came from the vacation of Bryden Avenue on the east side of town. At that time, it would just kind of brought it to everyone's attention that we don't have a network planned outside of where we already have streets. And so there's places within town where we need to establish what are we going to be doing in the future with our streets, so that as developers and the city itself are making plans and seeking to move forward with projects, we can do so with a plan in place that connects the city through our transportation network in a way that improves efficiencies for the drivers as well as decreases travel times. So with that, I'll stand for questions.
Thank you, Luke. Thank you, Luke. Council questions? Councilor Spickelmeyer.
Thank you, Mayor. So I'm just curious, I just don't know here, looking in the agenda summary, it states in here following council's direction. Like, when was that? Following council direction, staff issued request for qualifications.
It was part of the vacation vote that council took, was that last August? But last year sometime, sir. Sorry, I don't recall the exact date. Part of the vote was that as we are vacating this, we're also directing staff to forward with coming for a request for a budget to fund a project like this, and then to seek out a consultant to perform the work.
Thanks.
Welcome.
Council, further questions for our city engineers? Councilor Schroeder.
I move to award RFQ-25-012 East Lewiston Network Analysis, parent TR-073 parent, project to Kittleston and Associates Incorporated in the amount of $150,000, and authorizing the mayor to sign the contract.
Second.
Been moved by Councilor Schroeder, second by Councilor Forsman to award RFQ-25-012 East Lewiston Network Analysis, parent TR-073, parent project to Kittleson Associates Incorporated in the amount of $150,000, and authorizing the mayor to sign contract. Clerk Rocky.
Council President Kleberg.
Aye.
Councilor Wright.
Aye.
Councilor Forsman.
Aye.
Councilor Schroeder.
Aye.
Councilor Klein.
Aye.
Councilor Spickelmeyer.
Aye.
Passes. Thank you, council. Thank you, Luke, for being here tonight. So next we move to item E, ordinances, number 1, 2nd, and 3rd readings. A, ordinance 4944, considering amending Lewiston City Code Section 37-3 to add the definition of preschool facility and school, amending Lewiston City Code Sections 37-19, 37-27, 37-35, 37-43, and 37-51, allowing a preschool as a permitted use in various zoning districts, amending Lewiston City Code Sections 37-20, 37-28, 37-36, 37-44, and 37-51, removing a preschool as a conditional use in various zoning districts, amending Lewiston City Code 37-20.1 related to the special conditions applicable to mortuaries, churches, schools, daycares, and preschools. This is an action item. We have our city planner with us here, Mr. Joel Plaskon. If you have questions, otherwise, council, I would entertain a motion. Councilor Speckelmeyer.
Motion to dispense with the requirement that an ordinance be read on 3 different days and combine the second and third readings of ordinance number 4944.
Second.
It's been moved by Councilor Spickelmeyer, seconded by Councilor Schroeder, to dispense with the requirement that an ordinance be read on 3 different days and combine the second and third readings of ordinance number 44. Those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Counselor Spickelmeyer.
Motion to waive the third reading in full of ordinance number 4944 and approve the reading of the ordinance by title only.
Second.
Been moved by Counselor Spickelmeyer, seconded by Counselor Schroeder to waive the third reading in full of ordinance number 4944 and approve the reading of the ordinance by title only. Is there discussion? Amendments? Favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carries. Clerk Rocky.
Approving the second and third readings of ordinance 4944, an ordinance of the city of Lewiston amending Lewiston City Code Section 37-3 to add the definition of preschool facility and school, amending Lewiston City Code Sections 37-19, 37-27, 37-35, 37-43, and 37-51, allowing a preschool as a permitted use in various zoning districts, amending Lewiston City Code Sections 37-20, 37-28, 37-36, 37-44, and 37-51, removing a preschool as a conditional use in various zoning districts, amending Lewiston City Code 37-20.1 related to the special conditions applicable to mortuaries, churches, schools, daycares, and preschools, and providing an effective date.
Thank you, Clerk Rocky. Councilors, next up, we have item B, ordinance 4947, considering amending Lewiston City Code, section 37-3, relating to the definition of dwelling, and amending Lewiston City Code, section 23-25, relating to the definition of recreational vehicle. This is an action item. Again, we have our city planner here with us tonight, Mr. Joel Plaskon. I say would entertain a motion. Councilor Spickelmeyer.
Motion to dispense with the requirement that an ordinance be read on 3 different days and combine the second and third readings of ordinance number 4947.
Second.
Been moved by Councilor Spickelmeyer, seconded by Councilor Schroeder, to dispense with the requirement that an ordinance be read on 3 different days and combine the second and third readings of ordinance number 4947. Those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion carries. Councilor Spickelmeyer.
Motion to waive the third reading in full of ordinance number 4947 and approve the reading of the ordinance by title only.
Second.
Been moved by Councilor Spickelmeyer, seconded by Councilor Schroeder, to waive the third reading in full of ordinance number 4947 and approve the reading of the ordinance by title only. Is there discussion or amendments? None. Those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carries. Thank you, Council. Clerk Rocky.
Approving the second and third readings of ordinance 4947, an ordinance of the city of Lewiston amending Lewiston City Code Section 37-3 relating to the definition of dwelling, amending Lewiston City Code Section 23-25 relating to the definition of recreational vehicle, and providing an effective date.
Thank you, Clerk Rocky. Thank you, Joel. Also, next up, item 2, adoption and approval of ordinance summaries. Item A, ordinance 4944. This is an item. Councilor Spickelmeyer.
Motion to adopt ordinance number 4944 and approve the related ordinance summary.
Second.
Councilor Klein, thank you. Right. Councilor Spickelmeyer, second by Councilor Klein. Is there discussion or questions? Been moved by Councilor Spickelmeyer, second by Councilor Klein, to adopt ordinance number 4944 and approve the related ordinance summary. Clerk Rocky.
Council President Kleberg.
Aye.
Councilor Wright.
Aye.
Councilor Forsman.
Aye.
Councilor Schroeder.
Aye.
Councilor Klein.
Aye.
Councilor Spickelmeyer.
Aye.
Carries. Thank you, Council. Next up, item B, ordinance 4947. This is an action item. Motion to adopt ordinance number 4947 and approve the related ordinance summary. Councilor Spickelmeyer.
Motion to adopt ordinance number 4947 and approve the related ordinance summary.
Second.
Been moved by Councilor Spickelmeyer, second by Councilor Wright, to adopt ordinance number 4947 and approve the related ordinance summary. Clerk Rocky?
Council President Kleberg.
Aye.
Counselor Wright.
Aye.
Counselor Forsman.
Aye.
Counselor Schroeder.
Aye.
Counselor Klein.
Aye.
Counselor Spiegelmeier.
Aye.
Carried. Thank you, Council. Thank you, Clerk Rocky. We'll move down to Roman numeral 9, unfinished and new business. Item A, City Councilor comments. Comments shall not be related to an item currently before the council or an item that may come before the council in the foreseeable future. It shall be limited to comments, not discussion.
Mayor.
Councilor Forsman?
I said this, I believe, last year around summer, and it is starting to get extremely hot out there. And just as a reminder to whoever's listening, the temperatures inside a vehicle can rise 20 degrees in as little as 10 minutes and 50 degrees in an hour. Even when outside air temperatures are in the 70s, the inside of a car acts like a greenhouse, where actual temperatures inside the vehicle can reach 120 Fahrenheit in minutes and approach 150 in a little as an hour. So look back before you leave your car. Make sure your kiddos are with you, your dogs, and it is entirely too hot to leave anybody in a car, especially without air on. So just be careful, and it can happen. Busy people get busy, and it can happen. People leave their kids in their car or the dog, and it's not good. So just a reminder to be vigilant.
Thank you, Councilor. Councilor Wright?
Yeah, I received a fair amount of positive feedback about the Disney anniversary that took place. I wasn't there myself, but the feedback was that they really enjoyed it and wished Lewiston had more parades and things where the community could get together.
That's awesome.
Thank you, Councilor. Okay, next we have item B, City Boards and Commissions, liaison updates.
Mayor. Valley Vision is getting ready for their annual event dinner. Theme's new program produces results, is sure not to disappoint. So it sounds as the council will have a table there. I highly suggest council members attend. It's a good experience to see what they're up to and if they are bringing results to the table. Obviously, we give them money to do that. And that will be on the July 29th. And I believe dinner starts at 6. But they should be sending more and more details. I think Tanya sent you guys information on that to select what meal you want and things of that matter. Historic Preservation didn't have a meeting. We'll have one, I think, at the beginning of next month. And Public Works is coming up in a couple weeks, which Councilor Wright will be there for the first time, so that'll be exciting to have a new face and new engagement. MSAB had a meeting just this last Tuesday and just going over contracts and how policies at the federal level may affect us, may not. And that's pretty much where we're at. That was my update.
Thank you, Councilor.
Welcome.
Councilors on this end? No. Councilor Schroeder?
Have comprehensive plan, envision Lewiston, what is it, 2044? Something like that, I'm sorry. I think it's just called the comp plan. Tomorrow.
Councilor? Item C, Mayor comments. I'll just share a couple. Again, I'm not supposed to talk about items that are before or may come before the council, but budget is pretty generic. I do want to say thank you to our finance staff. They're working very, very hard to crunch the numbers and get this all put together. Councilors, if you have questions, early questions or concerns or anything like that, please feel free to reach out to myself and or someone in the finance department so we can be as informed as we can as we go through this process. And then I want to once again congratulate Corporal Thompson tonight and thank Chief Cusick for all the work that he and his staff do to protect all of us here in the community. So I'm very happy to hear about this and congratulate you too, Chief. Councilors, that bring us to item D, agenda topics. Councilor Klein?
I have an agenda topic recommendation. I move to work with community development staff to amend the signage code to make exceptions for yard sale signs.
One more time, I can't hear, I'm sorry.
I move to work with community development staff to amend the signage code to make exceptions for yard sale signs.
Second.
Been moved by Counselor Klein, seconded by Counselor Spickelmeyer to, it's an agenda topic, to discuss the community development sign code to allow for exceptions for yard signs. Counselor, I don't want to set you up, but do you have a date in mind or when you'd like to do this, or just sometime in the future?
Sometime in the future, and once I get it together, I'll
Okay.
contact you.
Okay, Counsel, you heard the motion. Those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carries, we'll add it to the list. Thank you, Counsel. Thank you for bringing that up. Next, we have Roman numeral 10, adjournment. This is an action item.
I move to adjourn.
No one wants to go home.
Second.
It's
Except for
been
them.
moved by Counselor Schroeder, second by Counselor Wright to adjourn. Those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye. We're all in our heads like, what?
Opposed? Motion carries. We are adjourned. Thank you, Counsel.
I don't think that's ever happened usually.